The views and opinions expressed on Real Talk with Horace Sheffield are not those of WADL TV 38 or Adele Broadcasting Corporation.
Giving you real talk, real talk, real talk. Take a walk down this path through Detroit, This is real talk, real talk, real talk. Real issues straight from the heart, Giving you real talk, real talk, real talk. Take a walk down this path through Detroit, This is real talk, real talk, real talk.
I'd like to welcome Sherry Collins, Chief Diversity and Engagement Officer for the Make-A-Wish Michigan chapter. And I guess you're operating here in Detroit as well, right, Sherry?
Yes, absolutely. We actually operate throughout the entire state of Michigan.
Well, that's outstanding. So I'm going to start this off by asking you, for our viewing audience, what is the Make-A-Wish Foundation?
Yes, we grant wishes to children with critical illnesses. So children between the ages of 2.5 to 18 who've been diagnosed with a critical illness are eligible to receive a wish. And since 1984, we've actually granted more than 11,000 wishes to kids right here in Michigan.
Wonderful. David?
Thanks again, Ms. Collins, for joining the show. So I understand that you are the diversity champion there with Make-A-Wish.
Yes.
Can you tell me what that encompasses there at Make-A-Wish?
Well, we were really excited to be able to really focus on our diversity initiatives. I was actually just placed in this position earlier this year. I've been with Make-A-Wish Michigan for about 9 years, serving as the VP of Marketing, and we really wanted to do more with diversity, equity, and inclusion, and making sure that we are reaching all children in the state, and that all children, in particular children in the city of Detroit, have equitable access to a wish. So this position as Chief Diversity and Engagement Officer was created to really make sure that we're focusing on that and making it a priority and putting the resources in place to make sure we're reaching all eligible children.
So with a follow-up question to the diversity, equity, and inclusion, a lot of times people automatically assume that refers to race relations. Can you talk about some of the other, as it relates to equity, as it relates to inclusion, there are other segments of the population or a particular demographic that fit into this particular, into diversity, inclusion, equity, and inclusion?
Sure, you're absolutely right. We are focused on not just, race or ethnicity or culture. We're focused on all aspects of diversity, as well as just making sure that, from an equitable standpoint, looking at how we deliver our mission, and do all children have the same access to our mission? Do they know about it? Do they know how to refer a child? Inclusion, we're making sure that people feel welcomed and invited to be a part of our mission. Is it something that that people feel like they are a part of or can be a part of? So we're really looking at it from a very holistic standpoint to make sure we're reaching people from all backgrounds and making sure they feel both welcomed and invited to be a part of the mission.
So
that's important. Vernon Myers.
Go ahead, David.
I'm sorry, just to close this out, Vernon Myers says diversity is being asked to a dance, and inclusion is being asked to dance.
I love that.
Go ahead, Gerald. Thank you.
Okay, we're all dancing right now. So listen, Ms. Collins, since the social justice movement around George Floyd, there's been a recalibration by organizations to really reemphasize the social justice components of organizations. Have you done the same thing with respect to Make-A-Wish?
Well, we are really taking a look at, our mission, which is to grant wishes to children with critical illnesses, and making sure that, that we're reaching all children, and that there isn't a there isn't a disparity when it comes to children from different backgrounds. And what we're noticing is that we're not seeing the level of referrals. We're not serving the number of children in Detroit that we know we could be. So we really wanted to make sure that we're making a focused effort on that. And it's not something, this isn't a new focus, but it's something that we're putting even more resources into to make sure that it happens.
Yeah, that's a great segue into my next question. So the Make-A-Wish Michigan is an award-winning chapter and a leader in diversity, equity, and inclusion. So what makes the Michigan chapter an award-winning chapter? What have you done to prove your stripes?
Sure, that's a great question. So we really, since about 2018, we've really been focusing in the space of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And there are 58 chapters of Make-A-Wish around the country, and we really have been leading the charge among our Make-A-Wish chapters of making sure that it's something that's infused throughout the entire organization, that it's not just an initiative or an effort that we're doing because it's popular or because it looks good on our Facebook page or LinkedIn page, but it's something that we've, devoted time for training for staff and making sure, training for our board and really, just really putting some resources and efforts into it. Prior to about a year ago, our efforts were focused more internally, where we were focusing more on training and just some different things internally, but we are now really focusing more externally and working more with outreach and trying to make sure we get more kids who are eligible for a wish.
What I want to do, David, too, is to have Ms. Collins to kind of walk us through the back office of the process of identifying a child, identifying the parent's household, and what they go through in terms of qualifying for a Make-A-Wish process. Can you do that for us, Ms. Collins?
Sure, absolutely. So in order for a child to be eligible for a wish, they have to be between the ages of 2.5 to 18 at the time of referral. They have to be diagnosed with a critical illness. And that's a very important point because sometimes people assume that it has to be a child with a terminal condition, and that's not the case. It's a child who has a critical illness, and we actually serve children in 12 different specialties. So it could be a child with cancer, but it could also be a child with a cardiac condition. It could be a child with a gastro condition. It could be a lot of different variety of conditions that would qualify. And so once a child has been diagnosed with that condition, there's several ways they can be referred to us. Their medical professional could refer us. It could be their doctor, their nurse, a social worker, a parent themselves can reach out to us to start the referral process. And from there, we go through the processes of making sure they meet the eligibility requirements. We work with, their medical, if it's a parent who refers, we reach out to their medical professionals to, get the paperwork completed. One of the misunderstandings is that some people think you have to be kind of like nominated or selected for a wish, but really it's as simple as if you qualify, if you meet the eligibility requirements in terms of your condition, then you would be eligible to receive a wish. So once they're determined to be eligible, then we start the process of making their wish come true and determining, working their volunteers reach out to them and work with the families to determine what their wish is. And we start the planning process.
Okay, David?
Yeah, and so I find that a lot of times that process can be intimidating, not just to our people, but to a lot of people. But I'll just speak specifically to our people. When we're told to fill out some, just generally speaking, we're told to go and fill out some paperwork or to apply, we get flustered or frustrated with the process that we don't follow through. So with that being said, is there anybody who can shepherd them through the process, or do they have people that say, if you need assistance, can you give us some help? Because a lot of times what we'll do is like I said, generally speaking, we'll look at it, something we don't understand, we'll just set up on the shelf. And that's a resource that's valuable that actually we need and we could benefit from, but we're intimidated with the paperwork, we're intimidated with the process. So is there a way, as we speak to diversity, equity, and inclusion, where we're dealing with probably a 70%, I don't know how valid that is, literacy rate in Detroit specifically, in terms of actually taking advantage of those resources? I know that's a lot.
No, that's a really great question and a really great point. And it's one of the things that we are focusing on as part of our process. And that's one reason we think that maybe we don't see the same level of referrals, because it can be an intimidating process. And it can be something that, families aren't sure of, like, well, what are you doing with this information? And why do you need this information? And how does this, impact, other services I receive, or who's going to have access to it? So we are absolutely here and ready to to assist families who have questions and who want to, have questions about how to fill out the paperwork, what the process is, and how that works. They can call our office, and we can work directly with families to make sure that they're comfortable with the paperwork. They know how to fill it out and what they need to do, and work through that process. It's also something we're evaluating. Are there ways we can make it more streamlined or make it simplified for families to make sure that they that they are comfortable with it and are able to complete the process.
And there you have it, equity and inclusion, Gerald.
Yeah. So Ms. Collins, as you go through the process, and David mentioned regarding some trepidation on the part of our Black families, maybe not to fill out paperwork or not be in a position to do that, I'm still interested to find out what the process is to getting the word out in terms of identifying these families. I mean, do you do it by advertisement? Do you do it by word of mouth? Do you do it by social media platforms? How do you get this work done?
Absolutely. So one of the ways that our kind of traditional model has been really working with the hospitals to get the word out, and working with healthcare professionals. And what we are finding is that that's not really working in Detroit, that's not how families are finding out about Make-A-Wish, that it really is more word of mouth, and it's really hearing from people in the community that they have a trusted and close relationship with. So the thing that we are launching is really that focus on that outreach. And so getting information to churches and different religious institutions, getting it into beauty shops and barber shops, and putting it out there in the community. So that's something that we're just now really getting going with, getting that information out there so that people will have access to it and will hear about it, and hear about it from trusted sources and in places that they feel comfortable interacting with.
And in the next breath of this, I would like to see David, maybe, and Rev can chime in. Well, he's not, but to see Miss Sherry Collins to come on more frequently on the show to recruit families who are eligible to become a part of this Make-A-Wish effort.
Absolutely.
Would you be willing to do that?
Absolutely.
Go ahead, David.
Yeah, and I also it's not more of a question, but more of a statement in terms of reiterating what you said in terms of identifying stakeholders in a community, religious institutions, community organizations like Dabo, and actually getting the word out and letting the people know that this is a resource. And then two, being specific in identifying those 12 concerns that Make-A-Wish specifically deals with. Because we may have, again, family members, we may have people in our community that can benefit from it, but that if they don't know, then they don't get the information. Not only that, though, it's a lot easier and palatable for them when somebody like yourself, Ms. Collins, or we get the information, we're able to kind of pass that information on to them and share with them and help them decipher the details and the message in the details of it. So again, I believe, like Gerald said, coming to Dabo, or coming to some other community organizations, we can get the information out. And I'll be honest, I know vaguely about what Make-A-Wish is, vaguely. But again, I wouldn't know to call Make-A-Wish. I wouldn't know what to call them for. I just know that Make-A-Wish, you raise money and you donate and they help people. That's it. So I'm learning more today than I've ever known, taking notes and things of that nature. So I believe it is impactful. And I guess you coming from a marketing background, they got the right person in the place, but actually getting the information out so that we can get it out and actually share the information so the folks can benefit from the resource.
Yep. And Ms. Collins, what are the best practices that the other 57 chapters are using that distinguishes your award-winning chapter versus the others?
Well, really, it's about just stepping out there into this space and really making sure that we are addressing this issue, the issue of equity and inclusion. I think we have, like I mentioned, we've had kind of our traditional model of reaching out to children's hospitals, and that's sort of how we get our referrals. And so we really said, took a look and said, well, that's not enough because we're not reaching all the kids. We know that there are more kids that we could be serving. We believe that there are probably about 800 kids in the state of Michigan who will be newly diagnosed with a critical illness this year alone, just based on hospital data. And there's a large percentage of those children who live in Detroit that we're not reaching. So it's really about just putting the stake in the ground to say we've got to do more. And it's not we really want to come to the table with humility, not saying, oh, here's Make-A-Wish and we have all the answers, but saying we want to serve the community better. And we know we have some work to do and we were working hard to become better, and let us know how we can help and what we can do to better serve the community.
Peace and love. I am Amore Shanae, owner of Amore Natural Way Natural Hair and Braiding Salon, located West Detroit at 13201 Grand River. We specialize in all braids, twists, and locking services. We offer complimentary wine and refreshments with service, and we can promise you a peaceful, positive, and professional experience. To book with us, give us a call and follow us on Instagram at Amore Natural Way Salon.
Okay, we're back here with Sherry Collins from the Make-A-Wish Foundation. She is the director, I believe, of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. And she's been sharing with us some of the benefits of the Make-A-Wish Foundation and actually trying to get the word out to the community. Ms. Collins, you were sharing with us prior to the break about some of the things, or you were going to about some of the things that some of the young people wish for.
Yes. So we have children, the thing I love about our mission is that a wish is really about whatever is going to make that child's heart happy. And so we have children who wish to take a trip. So they might want to go to Disney. They might want to go to Hawaii. They may want to go to some other, destination that they've been dreaming about. They may want to meet their favorite celebrity or go to, we have children who maybe want to meet, maybe it's a sports celebrity or an entertainer that they want to meet. We have some kids who just have a long wish list of items that they want to shop for, and it could be a shopping adventure that they're looking for. Or earlier this year, we granted a wish to a wish kid King in Detroit who wanted a play set, and his thing was he wanted a castle play set that he could play with his siblings and play in his own backyard. So it really, it varies. There are children who want a puppy, but it really is about what makes their heart happy, and so it's quite a range of options available.
Gerald?
Yeah, so Ms. Collins, that's great and wonderful. So do you identify local celebrities if in fact any of these children would like to meet a football player, basketball player, a David Felton or Reverend Sheffield? How does that process happen? What do you think?
Yeah, if a child wants to meet a celebrity, a local celeb, whether it's local or somewhere else, we'll work with them to meet that celebrity. So it's we even had one wish kid at one point. He wanted to meet the grounds crew at Comerica Park, and that was his wish. And so he wanted, those were his celebrities. He was really into, lawn care, wanted to start a lawn care business one day, and that's who he wanted to meet. So, whoever it is they want to meet, we work hard to make that happen.
This may be a nebulous question, but have there been any celebrities that refuse to meet with children?
We work with so many amazing celebrities. Sometimes there might be a celebrity who, it could be a lot of different circumstances, maybe due to their current personal circumstances aren't available to meet with a wish child. So we really honor whatever people are able to do, because there could be a variety. I haven't personally encountered that, but, sometimes things are going on in people's lives and they might not be available to, but we work with so many, incredible celebrities who are so generous with our wish kids.
Okay, Mr. Celebrity.
Yeah, thank you. So Ms. Collins, tell us what is the age range for the Make-A-Wish Foundation recipients?
We serve children who are between the ages of 2.5 to 18 between the ages of 2.5 to 18 at time of referral. So that means they need to be referred to us before their 18th birthday.
Okay. And then again, you did mention it in the earlier segment, but you talked about the 12 specific concerns that you guys assist with?
Yes. So
I
we
think I didn't want to I didn't want to say the wrong word. So there are 12
specialties. There's 12
specialties.
specialties. Yes. Yes, and then there's a variety of conditions within these specialties, but there are 12 specialties, and they include cardiology, hematology, oncology, endocrinology, gastroenterology, immunology and infectious disease, metabolic conditions, nephrology, neurology and neurosurgery, pulmonary, and rheumatology. I think I got all 12 there, but and then it's, there's a lot of nuances within each of those specialties. So the best way is really for families to call us, or even they could talk to their healthcare provider, but if they're more comfortable just reaching out directly to us, we can kind of work with them on what those conditions are within those specialties that would qualify.
Yeah, and I think it's wonderful, Gerald, the fact that we have a clinic at Dabo, and that information would definitely, I think, be critical to some of the work that we're trying to do in terms of another resource for people to reach out and to get the information that they need. And then somebody at our place will probably become more familiar, so we'll know specifically who to call or what answers and stuff. I think it's wonderful. Why don't you give us some information on how you can be reached? We're not quite done yet, but how they can reach you or how they can get more information about Make-A-Wish.
Absolutely. People can call our office directly at 800-622-9474. They can send us an email. We have a special email set up. It's detroit@michigan.wish.org. For a referral, you can go directly to our website, michigan.wish.org/refer, and start that referral process. So those are all ways that any of those options, you can kind of talk with somebody and find out more or start that process. And I love what you mentioned about, the clinic and having that information, because we're also very available to come out and do sessions and really talk with medical professionals to say, hey, here to provide more details on what those nuances are within those specialties, so they would really know which kids may or may not qualify before they start that process with families. So we're happy to help educate others and just make sure what the criteria is, so that we can find these children and make sure they're receiving a wish.
Joe, we got about a minute and a half before we go to break.
Okay, so Ms. Collins, are you a staff of one?
We have, at the Michigan chapter, we have more than 30 staff at the Michigan chapter. As far as solely focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion, it's one position that's focused on that. But as I mentioned, it really goes throughout the whole organization. So the person who recruits our volunteers, the person who's reaching out to medical professionals, we're all, working on this together.
And my last point is that I think it's extremely important that you get the word out, and that we as an organization, Dabo, as well as this TV show, as well as our radio broadcast, is to assist you in getting this word out about such an important program.
Well, great. I really appreciate it. And that's really what it's all about, making sure people know about it and that we're here and we're ready to work with families. And we want to make sure that these children are getting access to a wish. And, it's so important, children battling critical illness, they're dealing with so much. And we just want to make sure that all children, and in particular children in Detroit, have access to our mission.
Wonderful.
All right, we've talking with Sherry Collins, Director of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion with Make-A-Wish Foundation, Michigan. We'll be right back after this break.
The word trail is odd. It means following behind. But when you get on a trail, you're moving ahead of your worries, ahead of life's dramas, ahead of noise and fuss and distraction. Good trails show you the way. The best trails show you our way. Your Huron-Clinton Metro Parks, where we've got 250 miles of trails just waiting to be discovered. They're your Metro Parks. Come out and see what you find.
Hey, we're back here. We're talking with Sherry Collins. We have the greatest producer on this side of heaven, Gerald Smith.
Who's not a celebrity, by the way.
Is not with us. But we're getting some wonderful, wonderful, wonderful information about the Make-A-Wish Foundation and some of the resources and the opportunities that are available to us. And one of those opportunities, one of the new things that that Ms. Collins is doing with Make-A-Wish is the Detroit Forward
Focus.
Fo-
Detroit Forward Focus.
Detroit Forward Focus. Why don't you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes, so this is our effort to really make sure that we're reaching more children in Detroit, and part of it is a big outreach effort to increase awareness, because many people don't know about Make-A-Wish and that we're right here in the community and that we're serving children throughout the entire state. So this is a program that's really focused on increasing the number of referrals we're seeing from Detroit, and doing that through outreach and really working with those trusted sources in the community that our families interact with on a daily basis. So whether it's their churches or just community organizations, the beauty shop, barbershops, and making sure people know about Make-A-Wish. And the exciting thing about it is that it's a pilot program we're launching to make sure that we're more equitable in how we deliver our mission, but that it will help us reach more children throughout the entire state as well as throughout the entire country. So it's something that other Make-A-Wish chapters can use as a model for outreach and making sure that we're reaching children in communities maybe that we have not been serving to the level that we need to be serving.
And so the children are challenged medically or health-wise. Do you have a relationship with the Children's Hospital of Michigan?
We do. We do work with the Children's Hospital of Michigan, and they refer children to Make-A-Wish.
That's great. And what about the other healthcare hospitals, facilities that you might have some relationship with? Could you tell us about that?
Absolutely. So we work with facilities throughout the entire state. We work with children's hospitals, those who are dedicated to serving children, but then those who maybe have a segment of their hospital that serves children. So whether it's C.S. Mott Children's Hospital, we also work really closely with Helen DeVos Children's Hospital on the west side of the state. So we are working very closely with these communities, and they tend to know a little bit more about our referral process and how that works. But what we found in Detroit is that children aren't always being referred to that same level as they might be in other parts of the state. And part of that is even bandwidth. We understand even from hospital staff, if they have so many other things that they're dealing with, just trying to focus on the health of the child, that they may not have that bandwidth to refer a child to Make-A-Wish. So we're really working on how we can make that process even smoother and easier for those healthcare professionals to make sure that they are able to let their families know about our services.
Good point.
All right, well, it's been a pleasure talking with you on today, and we look forward to building a relationship with you, having you come out, and maybe you could even come on the line on the radio show. We have medical experts that come on and certain subject matter that share with the community. We'll be more than happy to have you come on. Before we go, can you give us the contact information, how folks can donate to the foundation, or where they can find out more information about Make-A-Wish?
Absolutely. And thank you so much for having me on today. People can find out more information at our website, michigan.wish.org, or they can call our office at 800-622-9474.
All right. Well, this has been another show here on Sunday, and you can see it at 12:30. We'll see you next week, same time, same station. Gerald?
I'm Gerald Smith, and you are?
David Felton, and we'll see you next time. Have a great day.
Detroit, this is real talk, real issues straight from the heart, giving you real talk, real talk. Take a walk down this path through Detroit, this is real talk, real talk.
Peace and love. I am Amor Shanae, owner of A More Natural Way Natural Hair and Braiding Salon, located West Detroit.